So apparently I'm quite long-winded when it comes to explaining things of a defensive or weapon nature. So I'm going to try not to be too long with this one. The last one that I uploaded was on 1911 specifics and why I like what I like. Now I'm going to switch to the main firearm sidearm that I've carried for the last 17 years until getting my first new 1911 in the same amount of time. And that is the Glock 21. Now, it is taken apart right now to its stripped down sequence. I can take it down to the last everything, but it's just for demonstration purposes, so I'm not going to do that. I am one of those people that minimally oils a weapon, only as much as it needs. If you do too much, it's subject to getting dirty and getting gummed up. That leads to malfunctions. You gotta be careful about how much you do. So, first thing is the magazines on mine. I have Pierce grip extenders, which I actually got from a friend who had extra ones, and they've served me really, really well. These were made in 1997, and they've been sitting in his garage waiting for some magazines for, 2006 is when I got them from him. So, I got those on there. I have Wolf flat wound 22-pound mag springs in both my magazines. They were special order. They were prohibitively expensive, but they are tight-ass springs, and these mags feed. They do not feed. The other thing that was cool with these mags is, even though they're factory Glock mags, the ones that I ordered to replace my originals, because my originals cracked, are a little bit slimmer. They don't have that typical bulge on the sides that most of the Glock mags used to have, because this is a Gen 2. So they pop out of the magazine channel really easily, which is good for tactics. So, that's cool. All of the springs, from my trigger assembly through my firing pin, the extractor, plunger, my all that stuff from the slide and the frame are all Wolf, and the special order ones in my magazines. The only thing that is not exclusively Wolf is my Glockmeister tungsten 24-pound flat wound captured guide rod spring and guide rod that was like $40. It's very heavy compared to the stock one. It is a Wolf spring made for Glockmeister, and these rods are made specifically for his business for the different models. Greg is an awesome guy. I bought my KKM Precision Standard Twist Stainless from him. I also got my True Glows from him. Now, why did I get True Glows? Because in my other video that's previous to this, I state that I hate the glow sights, but I also talk about these True Glows. Well, one is the sight radius. Look how long they are. Very easy to acquire. You will notice that these are green, the front, or those are yellow, the front is green, and they shine brighter during the day, and are channeled down into the sight as opposed to the sight being cut out a couple times and it's sitting through there. Big difference to me, and why I got them. And I would probably put True Glows on my 1911 if they made it in a Bomar style fixed. I do not have adjustables on this. I hate adjustable sights with a passion. They're prone to break. The locking lug portion of this barrel compared to the factory one is much tighter, and it holds this guide rod almost too well. The guide rod actually kind of pops out when I try to disassemble it. Sometimes I have to jockey it around for it to clear so that my slide can come off the frame. But in battery, good God, is it solid. And the things that I did, like I surfaced my entire, with a Dremel and deburring tool. I deburred the entire mating surfaces of my trigger assembly here, and high polished with rouge. Really, really good. It's not illegal to do so. It's intended only to smooth surfaces, because even after 8,500 rounds when I did it, it still wasn't a smooth surface, because this is the part that moves the least compared to everything else. It's a very unique design, the Glock. Gaston Glock had a really great idea when he came out with it. Well, there were polymers before his came out, but his revolutionized the entire polymer frame industry. So I have the equivalent of around a 6 to 7 pound pull rate, but it feels like 5 because of how smooth it is. But I have New York springs in this because I am a tactically defensive-minded individual. I do not want too soft at the trigger. It gives more propensity of things going wrong in a combat situation. No matter how well you're trained, you can make mistakes, and it happens. So, I'm going to put these in. Bear with me, I'm sick as a dog. But I'm at home, I'm resting. My boss was great enough to let me go home in half a day. Yesterday I was there, the day before I was not. So it's been a very broken week for me. Now, I just recently replaced, excuse me for a second, the slide stop. Now, on a Glock polymer frame pistol, it is not a slide release. It's important to note that. But the extension is out of the side, not front or back. I don't like those kind. They lend themselves to being actuated on accident. And with the way that I shoot, I come in and I come over. So I naturally come away from that. I like to be into the bore of the axis, but I also like the control factor of having my hand completely webbed around the weapon. It makes for a much better and quicker shot, by the way, too, especially when you lock arms. Even when you don't lock arms, if you come out and you're fully webbed with both your thumbs locked, even if you tuck this elbow in and lock or push, you get a better shot with any kind of pistol-based firearm than the standard isosceles and the offhand stance and all that bullshit. I was taught a much different way than most. The spring is very, very, very strong. The tungsten rod helps with the muzzle flip quite a bit. The tightness of the barrel and how it works with the rod, the spring being heavier per pounds for the firing pin, the firing pin being a magnum-sized lightened stainless steel, lends itself in total to the lock time being greatly reduced and sight picture coming up very quickly. The recoil is fairly manageable considering it's a very powerful firearm, and the heaviness of the lends to it be a much better shooting than stock. But again, the slide stop is only that. If you have a magazine, this is loaded. When I put it in here and the chamber charge this weapon, it will be loaded momentarily. Nobody freak out. Ain't nobody gonna get shot. When you slide a mag in and it locks on the Glock, you will notice that it is pretty much perfectly in line. It only has a very small bump to go up, okay? Oh, you can press this all day long and now let cycle for it. But that's not what it's intended for, people, and that's why they wear out. With a Glock, you are supposed to do that. This is only there for this reason. And I'm going to show you by unloading my entire clip. Yes, I'm going to do it because I love y'all and I want you to see this for fact. Okay, so here is how things work with the Glock. So, you've got your last round. You've fired. Locked. It's not unlock It's not unlike a 1911 or other firearm pistol that is a lock breech, where a stopping mechanism such as the slide stop is a factor. The slide stop / release on the 1911 can be used that way because it's designed to be used that way. This on the 1911 frame is a much different standard and make and durability than this on a Glock. It's a very big misconception that you can go ahead and just willy-nilly touch shit down and your slide will return to battery and chamber around. It will, but it will wear down this piece significantly. Now, it's only a metal piece with a bar that goes down in here with a spring on it, and it was $30 for the one I got. It was a Vickers Tactical. Vickers Tactical makes fantastic products, by the way. So, if you want to ruin your parts, go ahead and push the little button. But it's made for it to lock back, not for you to slam it forward. Okay? When you have one, we'll do this again, this locked back, and you put another mag in, you are supposed to do this. And when you're in a combat situation, of course, you're doing it while you're aiming forward and keeping attention where you're going to bear. So, this is why I showed you what I showed you. And that's why I showed you, because, hell, some people are chowderheads, to be quite honest. Some people are just really stupid, and they do things that fuck up their weapons. And that's not cool. Why would you want to destroy your investment? You know, I paid, after getting rid of my Springfield, I think I paid about $380 is what I paid to get this Glock. So I had a total investment of about $600. You know, I've replaced a couple of cracked mags. Glock said it was old enough that they were prone to do that, but they didn't have a recall on them, so they wouldn't honor a return. Hey, no big deal, whatever. I can buy new ones aftermarket, not that big a deal. But then they came out with improved versions, and they came out with versions that worked on the new models and the old, which is why I got these ones quite a few years ago. But it's a completely tactically minded pistol. I even have a faux beaver tail, which works with my hand very well, by the way. I'm probably going to end up having Right Tactical does modifications for polymer now. I'll probably have them build me a beaver tail and do the slimming of the whole frame. And I'll probably end up having them do that because I want it to be solid. There's nothing wrong with this, but it's pinned on, and I really just don't like that. So eventually that's what it's going to be. I don't have an extended mag release. It is the factory one, but you'll notice on the Glock, it's fairly decent. Excuse me, I'm wrong. I did replace this. It's a Vickers Tactical as well. And I did it because I wanted a slightly extended mag release. I do remember that. My apologies. I lied. So, Vickers Tactical. The camera orientation with my phone just confuses the shit out of me. Vickers Tactical. Vickers. And then True Glow. KKM. And then Glockmeister for the guide rod. Not really the most esoteric of things. Cost-wise, they're actually fairly mundane, cost-wise. But all in all, between the cost of the pistol that I purchased at the 2000 Crossroads of the West, I've got about $1,200 in this weapon. But it's one of the baddest shooting fucking weapons you'll ever shoot in your life. It's accurate as fuck. It jams into battery instantaneously, which I calculated mathematically, by the way, being autistic and anally retentive, based off of the weights and measures of everything that I did myself and what I bought, springs and otherwise. The lockup time has been reduced in mathematical terms astronomically. Now, one thing I have not done, I have not bought a magazine loader. I need to because I'm getting older and these springs are really fucking hard to load. But it is a really fantastic platform. And for the everyday person, a stock Glock is a great weapon. There are two safeties on this. One is inside of the trigger assembly itself that does not allow it to fire if it's dropped. It will not go off. It will not actuate unless the mechanism here is engaged by the mechanism here, which is a two-part trigger that actually, you see it turning up right there? That actually releases that portion here to allow it to work with it. Okay? It's very important. It also allows you, when you check your weapon to make sure that it's done and you want to take everything apart, it also allows you to dry fire and unchamber lock it in the same trigger assembly. It's the dual process. And then at that point in time, you pinch it back about 1/3 of an inch and pull these pieces down and your slide comes off. Mine's a little more difficult because of the tolerances that are inside. Half the time I can't fucking do it, and I got to do it until it does it. But the payback is so worth it. I have really considered getting the aluminum trigger, aftermarket trigger for it, but I'm telling you, after 25,000 rounds, this weapon's going strong. I don't think they really want to do it. I'd like to have the aluminum trigger assembly because it's really butter smooth, and the trigger's a lot nicer. Yeah, I just don't really see doing that. I see doing the whole frame thing, like I said, and I might actually have the barrel crowned. Maybe. I'm not quite sure on that right now. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I just started a new job. I really don't have a lot of money. I'm moving. But at some point in time, I think I will. I think I'll even have the grips themselves. I'll have these molded and have them custom molded with the rest of the grip, because they can do that too. It makes it a lot different. But it's a really great sidearm, and like I said, I've had it for a long time and it's never failed me, except for shit fucking ammo. Other than that, it's been great.